the wound nobody can see. When people hear childhood trauma, they picture the obvious stuff: shouting matches, slaps, humiliation. A moment you can point to and say, "That's when I broke." But there's another kind of breaking, quieter, harder to prove, and because of that, harder to heal. It isn't created by what happened. It's created by what should have happened, but never did. You cried, and no one comforted you. You were scared, and no one asked. You were angry, and no one sat down long enough to hear the full sentence. You were confused, and no one reflected your emotions back to you so you could learn what they even were. No one said, "You're sad. You're disappointed. You're worried. You're lonely." So you grew up with a gap. The feelings were there, but the language to understand them wasn't. This wound leaves no scar on the skin. It leaves a habit in the nervous system, shrinking yourself to survive. A lot of people who carry this kind of wound look fine. Some even get praised for it. Independent. Mature. Easygoing. Never a burden. Sounds like a strength. Here's the truth: a huge chunk of your strength is just a survival strategy from a child who had to learn how to need less. You never ask for help. From the outside, people call it confidence. Inside, it's a painful equation: asking for help leads to being ignored, annoyed, or rejected. So you do everything yourself. You carry everything alone. You handle crises without calling anyone. And you're proud you're not dependent. But that's not normal independence. That's a fortress built around an old question: if I need someone, will anyone come? And because no one came back then, you learned not to need now. The price is loneliness and exhaustion. You don't know what you feel. Someone asks, "Are you okay?" You nod. They ask, "Are you sad or angry?" You freeze. Not because you're pretending, because you genuinely don't know. When you were a kid, adults were supposed to be your emotional mirror. They look at you and name what's happening inside you. If you didn't have that mirror, you learned one brutal lesson: your emotions don't matter, or worse, your emotions are a problem. So you shut them off. You end up living like a driver without a dashboard. The engine is overheating, the fuel is low, but you can't read the signals, so you just keep going. You over-explain everything. You're 5 minutes late and you talk like you're giving testimony in court. You decline an invitation and you apologize with a whole paragraph. You buy something for yourself and still feel like you need a good reason. That's not politeness. That's conditioning. You grew up believing you had to prove you deserved your needs. Wanting something felt dangerous, so you wrapped your wants in logic. And you get tired from constantly justifying your right to exist. If any of this hit you, comment armor. Not for me. For you. Naming the armor is the first step to taking it off. The good traits that are actually draining you. Now we get to the part that fools a lot of people. You think you're kind, gentle, emotionally intelligent. Sometimes you are. But sometimes it's not kindness, it's fear wearing a pretty mask. You apologize for taking up space. You apologize for asking a question. You apologize for needing 5 minutes. You apologize when someone bumps into you. You apologize for a messy house before the guest even sits down. At that point, sorry isn't manners, it's a survival reflex from a child who believed they were a burden. Maybe the adults around you were always busy, tired, irritated, emotionally absent. You learned quickly: when I show feelings, they get annoyed. When I need something, they sigh. So you became low maintenance. You started saying sorry to ask permission to exist. You shapeshift depending on who you're with. You read the room instantly. If someone's tense, you soften. If someone's sensitive, you edit yourself. If someone wants to be the center, you disappear. People call that high EQ. I call it what it often is: hypervigilance. When your childhood environment wasn't emotionally stable, you had to scan for danger to survive. If dad was in a good mood, you were safe. If he was irritated, you weren't. So your nervous system learned to monitor everything. That skill can help you socially. But it can also make you lose yourself. And when you live by pleasing others, here's the tragedy: you attract people who only like the convenient version of you. They love what you do for them, not who you really are. The more you try to keep them, the emptier you get. If you apologize too much or constantly adjust yourself to be easy, hit like and comment, "I want to live real." Not to impress anyone, just to hear yourself say it. The root: you don't trust yourself, and you don't feel safe receiving love. Now the two habits that quietly destroy your life the most, and the ones you judge yourself for the hardest. So I'm going to be direct. You don't trust your own judgment. You ask and re-ask. You need confirmation. You decide and still panic. Even small things: did I text wrong? Did I sound rude? Do I look stupid? Did I make the wrong call? This usually comes from being emotionally invalidated as a kid. You said, "I'm sad," they said, "You're not sad." You said, "I'm scared," they said, "Stop being dramatic." You said, "I don't like this," they said, "Kids don't know anything." Over time, your inner compass got broken. You learned your feelings weren't trustworthy, so you started living off other people's reactions. That's a prison. You support everyone, but disappear when it's your turn. When others suffer, you show up. When they need advice, you speak. When they're lost, you carry them. But when you're struggling, you go silent. You handle it. You avoid being a burden. You feel ashamed for needing anything. That comes from an old belief: to be loved, I must be useful. To be accepted, I must give. So you get good at giving and terrible at receiving. If someone cares for you, you get suspicious. If someone's kind, you assume there's a hidden price. So you dodge love like it's a trap. Here's what I need you to understand: you're not broken. You survived really well. But survival isn't living. Your armor protected you back then. Now it's squeezing you. And healing doesn't start with slogans like "love yourself." It starts with small, repeated, disciplined actions. 1. Practice stating needs in short sentences. I want to sleep early. I don't like being rushed. I need you to listen for 5 minutes. Then stop. Don't over-explain. 2. Practice receiving help with one word: yes. When someone offers, don't reflexively say, "No, I'll do it." Try, "Yes. Thank you." You're teaching your nervous system that receiving doesn't equal debt. 3. Stop automatic apologies. Before sorry, ask, did I actually do something wrong, or am I just afraid of being disliked? If you didn't do wrong, switch to thank you. Thanks for waiting. Thanks for reminding me. 4. Return to your body. When you're overwhelmed, don't force right thinking. Ask, is my chest tight? Is my stomach tense? Are my shoulders raised? Your body tells the truth before your mouth does. 5. Choose one safe person and try one honest sentence. I'm not okay today. Safe people don't demand proof. Toxic people call you too much. Let them reveal themselves. And here are real-life patterns so you can see it clearly. At work, you carry the team, even when no one asked you to. You fear delegating. You fear asking. You don't have the word help in your system, only push harder. You call it hardworking. It's often fear of being abandoned. In love, you pick emotionally distant people, because distance feels familiar. You start proving you're easy: I'm fine, I'm not demanding, don't worry. You call it loving deeply. Sometimes it's reenacting childhood, chasing someone who isn't emotionally present. In friendships, you're an amazing listener. You remember everyone's life. You read moods like a radar. But when it's your turn, your throat closes. You joke, you say I'm fine, you change the subject. You protect your I'm okay image to stay safe until it becomes fake. I'm not saying this so you hate your parents or your past. I'm saying it so you stop hating yourself. A lot of people insult themselves. Why am I so weak? Why am I so sensitive? Why can't I open up? Listen, what you call weakness is your alarm system. It was programmed early. Programs can be rewritten, but through real action, not motivational quotes. One more thing, when someone is genuinely kind to you, you might flinch. You might rush to pay them back, overgive, settle the debt fast. That often comes from growing up where kindness had conditions, praise followed by pressure, gifts followed by guilt, affection followed by don't cry again. So you learned love is a transaction. Your job now isn't some vague open your heart. Your job is to train your nervous system that the present isn't the past. Try this, once a week, ask for one small thing. Ask a coworker to review a file. Ask your partner to pour water. Ask a friend to pick the restaurant. Then sit with the discomfort like lifting weights. Shaky at first, stronger later. Another exercise, write 10 basic feelings on paper and put it near your desk. Happy, sad, angry, scared, ashamed, lonely, disappointed, anxious, grateful, relieved. Every day complete one sentence, today I feel. It doesn't have to be perfect. Naming is power. And remember, boundaries don't make you lose the right people. Boundaries only make you lose the people who wanted to use you. If you set a boundary and someone leaves, they didn't leave because you're bad, they left because you're no longer convenient. Harsh, but clean. Pain is a signal. Sit down. Do the work. Tell the truth, which habit hit hardest, 1, 4, or 6? Comment the number. And if you know someone wearing this armor while calling it strength, share this with them. The person brave enough to face an invisible wound is the real strong one.